on Absolute Radio.
This is Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio. I'm with Emily Dean and Alan Cochrane. Yes, Emily Dean's back.
I'm here.
But she's all you'd ever want. She's the kind I'd like to flaunt and take to dinner.
You can text the show on 81215. Follow the show on Twitter at Frank on the Radio. Email the show via the Absolute Radio website. I think we've already had a Twitter-based...
We've had a tweet, Frank.
A tweet, yeah.
I mean, I wouldn't describe it as 100% positive.
Okay.
Is it one of the supportive ones that we get all the time?
It's not totally negative
last
either.
person that said that to me was Dr. Hockley.
I'll let you be the judge. This is from Paul Brown. He says... he didn't say O. I added that O in.
Oh, did he turn around and say...
He turned round and he said, oh.
So he turned round and he said...
No, that was unfair of me. I've added tone into that.
Okay,
and I shouldn't have.
No, don't copy tone into it.
No.
He said to me he gets enough emails as he is.
Tone's overworked.
Paul Brown says this. It's one tweet of the week time. Come on, Frank. Time to move out of the 70s.
Yeah.
So that's a reference to the fact, Frank, that we tweet when the show's on, but not really much during the week from the official show account.
Well, it's a difficult... Because I don't tweet. Charlie don't surf, and I don't tweet. But there is a tweet thing that's sort of got my name on for the radio show, which is mainly, I think it's Sarah, our assistant producer, who handles that.
Yeah.
I'm sure
from the pink iPad.
I'm sure it's good. But I don't think... I think if Paul Brown goes to one of those chronicles of the 20th century, he'll find out that the one tweet in the 1970s would have been a suggestion that Jesus was coming back. It would have been such a big event.
Yeah.
But I know what he means. I think if you're going to tweet, I don't tweet myself. If you do, I if I did, I think I'd be on there all the time.
Really?
Yeah. That's what happens to people, isn't it?
It is.
Yeah. It takes over their lives.
Mm-hmm. So, yes, Paul, I'll have a word with Sarah about it, see if we can get some more stuff out there.
What sort of stuff would you like to have, Frank?
I don't know. What's Brownie suggest?
Brownie?
Ask Brownie. Ask Brownie what he likes to put out there.
Maybe we could have some of your humorous sound bites.
Somebody told me, before my last tour, someone said to me, a manager of a well-known comedian said to me, if you tweet, you add probably 15% to your ticket sales.
I've already worked out who that is. Anyway.
And I said, I'd rather have a few empty seats.
Yeah.
Would you?
Yeah, but I'm not condemning those of you who do. It's a lovely social thing. But I'm not good on the negatives. Somebody said to me this week, I do a show on Sky Arts called Sky Arts Landscape Artist of the Year, and someone said, we've had some lovely tweets. So I thought, you know what? I'll have a look. First one I saw, why is Frank Skinner on Sky Arts Landscape? That's the first one I saw.
Oh.
So, of course, that's...
Although, again, you could have put the tone into that. It could be, why is Frank Skinner on Sky Arts?
No, that tone didn't help. That's just a chirpy person being unkind.
That was... I think the strain in my voice was me trying to be chirpy.
No, God bless you. You were going against type in a big way.
Yeah. I know what you mean. I think one has to be careful with it.
The last time, before that, I looked, there was a... I didn't even look any further than this. It was a feature that said...
Are you what's described as a lurker?
Oh,
well, I've done it twice in the last 8 months, I would say.
I respect that honesty.
But I had a look and it said... there was a sort of... I don't know what you'd call it, because I don't have the terminology at my fingertips.
Hey, maybe I might know.
The heading was, is Frank Skinner funny? And I thought, I don't... So I never... It might have been a list of people saying, absolutely knockout hilarious, but I bet it wasn't.
Did you have the self-restraint not to click on the link?
I definitely didn't click. What? Self-restraint? Fear? Cowardice? No, I'm no good with it all. Why don't people just... I don't like unkindness in any area of life. You hear that, Brownie?
Brownie?
This is Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio.
Can I ask a question, by the way?
Sure.
Please do.
There's a sale advertised the other day, I saw, and it said...
was it a DFS?
I can't remember who it was for. And it said, must end on Tuesday. And I thought, who says that?
Yeah.
Who is like that? Don't tell me it must end on Tuesday like you're on my side. There's nothing. Your hands are tied. The shop surely decides when it ends.
They might have an extremely aggressive tenancy agreement, and they must be out, like all of their stuff out.
No, this was a big shop. It wasn't a closing down sale.
Right, so
Oh, right.
is your suggestion that they were trying to lure you in?
They're trying to, there's no must. It's their must.
Yeah.
Don't tell me they must end on Tuesday, and like there's some evil Mr. Big making them do it.
Yeah.
They want it to end on Tuesday, so I'll go there the
Don't
weekend and
give
spend my money.
ultimatums, they never end well.
They want to create scarcity value of the product,
They
don't
want to, in my mind, they want a clock ticking downwards.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I'm thinking of an electric blanket for under 20 quid.
Yeah. I mean, they don't realise that in your mind there's always a clock ticking down and down.
No, exactly. Not at my age.
Not about a sale.
At my age, it's like an enormous pit and the pendulum type thing. Yeah, so if anyone is involved in the sales business, I'm right, aren't I? There is no must.
I'm not sure it exists. Also, Al, I'm not sure it exists as a business in its own right, the sales business.
Well,
I think what you mean is retail industry.
What about the people who make those signs that say sale?
Yes.
Can I
Signwriters.
give some advice to those people? I mean, red's a nice colour, but come on, have some imagination. Red and white, can't we... What about sometimes when they mix it up and you get a green luminous sign with the black lettering?
It's still not got the same urgency as red, though, has it? Like, we all see red and we go, red!
Look, I get enough
that's why it's
urgency.
red.
I get all my urgency from the word must. I don't want that in my life.
Imagine if they changed it to probably, though. Like, there would be no urgency.
Oh, yeah.
Sale probably ends Tuesday. We might give it to Wednesday.
Don't even talk about the end of the sale. Let's just...
Don't talk about Tuesday.
Let's just enjoy the journey.
Okay.
Don't end game, as they say in Alexander Technique.
Do they?
Yeah.
Oh, lovely.
Do they?
Caroline Gidney Kelly has tweeted us, and she's got a whatever happened to, and I'm not sure this is, we can justify inclusion for this. Whatever happened to Peter the Wild?
Oh,
yeah, well, Peter the Wild, we haven't talked about him for a long time,
No.
to be fair.
We fell out.
He was, yeah.
Well, I fell out, to be more specific, but let's not go into that.
Yes, Peter the Wild, for new readers, was it George the First? I can't remember.
One of the Georges.
One of the kings had him. He was a wild boy. You know, occasionally, I don't mean he's a wild boy as he went out on the town. He's a wild boy as like the type that are found in a cupboard.
He was found in a Bavarian forest, Frank.
He was, yeah, living on his wits, such as they were.
Yeah.
And he became. They had a. I mean, it's in some ways it's a terribly sad story, but. But you know, time plus tragedy equals comedy.
yeah.
And so,
doesn't it, Jeff?
so we talked about it quite a lot, Peter the Wild.
He was made part of the court, and he was... I mean, one of the most cruel parts of the story is that they did put him on a lead. He did.
He was on a lead, which we were anti that. I think in the context of the story.
Didn't he also stare into fires and eat onions like apples?
That was his big thing.
That was his pastime.
No, he used to sing songs with no tunes, which is, if you think about it, it's not easy.
No.
How do you do that? He sang songs with no tunes, ate raw onions, and he stared into fires.
That was his shtick.
Great shtick, though.
You're right, I miss him. I mean, I'd forgotten about his main characteristics. And already I'm starting to warm to the topic all over again. You know, like when you find a book of something that you used to be really interested in, you think, I'll try this out, and you have a quick glance through and think,
Yeah.
it is still interesting, this. Yeah, old Wildy, he's still got it.
Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio. Surely not. There must be some mistake.
We've had a whatever happened to on the emails. You know, my Friday night troll.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Someone emailed last night saying whatever happened to earwigs. Seriously. I mean, think about it. When
Yeah.
was the last time you actually saw an earwig?
You know what? I'm going to give that the award. I haven't seen an earwig for it. We
The
had
award?
terrible pincers.
Yeah.
Terrible pincers.
They were
had.
very... I'm saying they peaked in around 1978.
You reckon?
Yes, I remember a lot of earwigs.
Oh, I think they were around in the 80s, weren't they?
Really?
I seem to remember New Romantic earwigs.
Yeah.
No.
Were they sort of
no, they were just
household
wigs.
pests?
Yeah, they used to be one of those when you got up in the night. Oh, that's another thing. What about silverfish?
I loved a silverfish.
Like dry land, tiny fish that used to run off when you put the light on at night.
You see, the young people in this room are looking utterly bemused, which makes me think that does utterly justify the inclusion.
I think you'll find that legal highs. Of course, it's that.
They've never seen a silverfish, Frank.
No. Look, no, they are shaped. Oh, no, Charlie has.
Documentary.
That's when the posh summit
Her
sometimes.
dad probably owned a silverfish farm.
He's some landlord, Frank, and he had some in the
If you
baths.
owned a trout farm and you had a child, you could give them a silverfish farm.
Get started.
Can I ask, did the silverfish, what was their obsession with the bathroom? What's wrong with the sitting room in the kitchen?
Well, we had them all over the house.
Oh, we only had them
They
in the
didn't like the
bathroom.
light, though. That was their thing.
Oh, didn't they?
They must be deep water. Not used to the light coming through.
We've had a missive from Steve France in Wrexham.
Steve who?
Steve France.
As in
the country.
Okay.
Yeah. It's a lovely rendition there.
Yeah.
He's in Wrexham. Good morning. Good morning, Frank, Emily and Alan. After living the dream as Perkins on Doctor Who, my question to Frank is, if you could land yourself a role on Gotham, which character would you most like to play? Alan and Emily's suggestions also welcome. P.S. I've seen the first 6 episodes of Gotham Season 3 already, and it's world class.
Okay.
Keep up the job you're paid to do, pay your taxes, and a round of applause for the police. Thanks,
Come on, for the police. Come on.
For the police. Great job they do.
That's a good question.
Well, Alan and Emily's suggestion. My suggestion is Man in Diner. Because I've never seen it, but I imagine there would be a man in the diner.
Yeah, and it'd be like an Edward Hopper painting. Just the one guy sitting on his own in a diner. Yeah, I wonder if I could bring back one of Batmite.
Right.
Batmite was a character.
Is he like Silverfish?
When I used to read, he looked like a tiny. He looked like the sort of thing you'd see on Pokemon Go, but he was like a sort of imp. But he was part of the Bat family with Batman, Batgirl, etc., etc. I'd love to play Batmite. I mean, it would need a bit of
CGI.
Yeah, I'd need a bit of that. But I'm prepared to walk around in me pants and a harness to get that kind of a role.
Yeah,
I think that's what you have to do. You have to make the sacrifices.
I'm really pleased that someone else is watching Gotham. You should get together with him.
You don't think it's just? I don't think it's just me and him. I think it's quite.
I think it is, darling.
I bet Will Smith watches it.
Why?
You know why?
Why?
Because old Ma Smith's in it.
Frank Skinner on the radio.
We've had a lot of silverfish correspondence, Al.
We have.
Is silverfish the technical name, or is that a...
We haven't had that bit of correspondence.
Okay.
We're
But
awaiting
the plural, silverfy. People don't have books, so silverfish have no food source.
Just a bit. On the first part of that, people still have books, don't they? Please tell me they do.
I think what the point is, though, is that
They have fewer
silverfish
books.
don't eat Kindles as much as they used to eat pages,
Although
if you
I
will.
was told by the chocolate expert on
What, in
Sunday
the
brunch,
in the Roald Dahl novel.
who just happens to live over the road from me, that people in this country spend more money on chocolate than they do on books and music.
Really?
Do they?
Guess which national crisis that might have led to. Okay.
The Great Green and Black Shortage in Hampstead?
No, the stupidity crisis. So, yeah, so that's a scary
The
news.
obesity one.
Yeah, he does mean
did you?
that, yeah.
I mean, there's both.
So silverfish, they want books. I've got loads of books. I haven't seen a silverfish for 10 years.
Me
More.
too.
Yeah.
I don't like to brag, but I've got enough books.
Yeah, me got books.
We're doing all right, aren't we?
I found 2 silverfish in the Kindle the other night. Desperation.
They should do that for retro. They should have silverfish icon, and you can activate it, and it just comes
that'd
across
be
the
good.
screen.
That's a great
Yeah.
idea.
Lovely.
Also, 091 has said, "Morning, guys. Silverfish only like damp places. That's why you find them in the bathroom, Frank." But actually, they've called you Frankie.
Oh, okay.
So they like spending a lot of time in the bathroom and they like books. That's like a lot of men I've dated.
Yeah, indeed. Sarah, the assistant producer, said to me, are they actually fish? Now, they like damp, but not as much as fish do.
No.
Fish love damp.
They do.
They've taken damp to the nth degree, fish.
Yeah. I described them as microscopic whitebait, and I'm still quite pleased with that.
I think that.
I like that a lot,
I
but
like that
it
as
did
well.
make me hungry. 898 has texted, morning all, if you grow cooking apples, you'll find lots of earwigs nestling by the stalks, clinging on with their evil pincers.
Really?
Have they got
so.
pincers, have they?
I love the idea of cooking apples. That's another
Yeah.
thing, isn't it?
Oh, I love a cooking apple.
Let's grow some apples that you can't really eat because they're too nasty. But we could maybe if we boiled them, they might be all right.
Are they not a bit whatever happened to cooking apples?
Oh no, they're still
don't know.
alive.
Still
and
get
well.
them?
I don't know.
Yeah. But they are they're the ultimate in delayed gratification, aren't they? We're going to have to grow
Exactly.
these things and then really
And
slowly
then they're in
cook
the
them.
house, and I many times, no, probably 7 times in my life, I've thought they got to be all right, haven't they, cooking apples? They must be all. I bet they're all right. People call them cooking. I bet they're fine. And then you bite one. Oh, I'm doing the face. Can you trust me? I'm doing the face. You know the face that looks a bit. Somebody says it like it's a cat's bottom.
Well,
face.
I'm going to put it on social media.
What?
The face. I'm going to take a picture of it and
Okay.
capture it.
Cooking apple face. That's who I want to be in Gotham. The new villain.
Frank and the team are live on the radio every Saturday morning from 8 until 11 on Absolute Radio across the UK on digital radio and 12:15 a.m.
So we had
Yes,
we had a text from.
we did. This was from 898. No, it's not 898. Hang on one second, please. It's actually from 023.
Hold, please, caller.
Okay, this is from 023. We were talking not long ago about irresistible accompaniments as 023.
Yes, this was
Would you
one-
like to recap, Frank?
I went flying a kite, and it was utterly impossible for me not to sing "Let's Go Fly a Kite." I mean, I just couldn't. I just couldn't stop myself. And I did point out that when I leave a cash point, having taken cash out, I always sing "Got Brass in
Yes.
Pocket." But
And we discussed other examples.
you
For example,
mentioned
summer holiday.
Yeah,
Very
if you're
good
going on
one.
a summer holiday, you
Did
have
that myself this summer. It's
You have to
hard
do it.
not to.
I was really proud of that piece of work. Anyway,
Yes.
Irresistible Accompaniment 023 says, every time I read MIT, I have to sing MIT,
Da-da-da-da.
MIT, the Massachusetts Institute of Technology, to
Love
the
it.
tune of SRB.
SRB, I should say, for our younger readers, was a cinema advert, and it was about you could get a hot dog, but it came in a cardboard box for convenience.
Lovely.
So it would be SRB, a sausage in a roll in a box for me.
Yeah, but you've given it a lovely Elvis Costello lilt, which it
Have I?
didn't originally have.
Lilt with a totally tropical taste.
That's
Lovely little.
Can you do that? Can you do
Yeah,
the
I was
voice?
just gonna
You
say.
can do the voice. It's done in
think so.
celebration. I'm harsh.
This is Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio.
We've had a text
I
morning.
tell you what, I've just remembered something. I don't do it anymore, but when I used to go on escalators, I used to sing Jerry Halliwell's Lift Me Up.
That wouldn't have looked at all camp.
She was big then. I think it was it number 1, Lift Me Up?
She did
was
so
big.
well then. That was a
did.
good period for her.
Ah, yes.
Morning, Frank. Frame, you know, F-R-A-I-M, like Frank, Alan, Emily.
Oh, right, okay.
Frame. Weren't silverfish superseded by the later superior model, goldfish?
Oh.
Okay,
yeah.
fine.
Hey, what's
Ian
the
Stewart
bronze
Dukes,
fish
and
then,
that's it.
initially?
I think it's a finely crafted pun and well done.
No, I'm very happy
Strong
with
work.
it. But if you got up in the night and there was half a dozen goldfish on your floor,
Oh yeah,
you'd be
Yeah.
terrified.
yeah, and sad because presumably they'd perish, wouldn't they?
Al, what about 806? He says, Frank and gang, I spent a whole summer 1982 with cotton wool or loo roll in my ears because my cousin told me that earwigs ate your brain. That's Fiona in Edinburgh.
I was always told that they lived on the wax from one's ears. That was their main food stuff,
Oh.
which apparently is incorrect.
Well, I would have found them quite useful bedfellows in that
sense of doubt.
Because you're no longer meant to insert cotton buds, are you, into your ear?
Aren't you?
No. Very dangerous, apparently.
Don't put anything smaller into your ear than your finger. Is it your elbow? Something like elbow?
I can't get my elbow in my ear.
Exactly, that's exactly the point.
Oh, no, sorry, it's my backside I can't get in my ear. I always get those two mixed up.
God.
Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio.
Hello. This is Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio with Emily Dean and Alan Cochrane. You can text the show on 8 12 15. Please do. People have. They haven't regretted it, generally. Follow the show on Twitter at Frank on the Radio, or email the show via the Absolute Radio website.
I feel we should address what's going on in the world at large. I mean, we have had, however, so much silverfish correspondence.
Really?
I don't know what to do with it all.
People
So should
still
we
seeing them, or are they all retrospective silverfish sightings?
People are seeing them, but just not as domestic in the modern world as they once were.
I'm not interested in the industrialised silverfish.
I mean, there's, for example, 047. Hi, guys. When I worked in a bar 2 years ago, I'd return home around 2 a.m. every night, without fail, during my pre-bed toilet trip. I would see the silverfish that lives in our bathroom.
Just one?
I always felt like he was my pet, welcoming me home after a long shift.
You don't often see them on their own.
No.
I like the idea of the silverfish loner.
Well, it's
a bit like the silver surfer.
Oh, you said silverfish loner. Well, if we take that to its next conclusion, we've had 111 text. I recently moved with my family to a larger property in need of renovation. Whilst removing the skirting, I've discovered a colony, or school, which is the collective, of silverfish.
Yeah.
Yes.
School of silverfish, man.
My teenage daughter instantly panicked and vacuumed them up. The bag hasn't been changed yet, so would you be up for some rehoming, Adam? So I think you're being offered some silverfish in a Hoover bag.
I'm happy to introduce them to Absolute Radio.
Yeah.
I like the way people put those green parrots into West London.
Just pop them out.
Just get them out here.
Yeah, why not?
They wouldn't
brighten the place up, wouldn't they?
I don't like them living in the bag of the Hoover.
That's horrible.
Why is it any more horrible
living there with the Lego?
It's not a very dignified dwelling, is it?
Might be like living in an adventure park.
They like damp. I imagine it's arid.
Yeah. I take it
I don't know if you've ever read Arthur Koestler's The Arid Hoover Bag.
It's a dystopian thriller, that one, isn't it?
It's a dark tale.
Calvin in Brum has cleared up a number of issues.
Oh.
And I'm warm to Calvin. He seems a
Thanks
no-nonsense Brum chap. All right. I nearly ate an earwig the other day when I bit into a rose hip. P.S. I've seen silverfish in bathroom recently. The gladiator was Nightshade. Calvin and Brum.
That's absolutely
brilliant.
I mean, that's everything you want in the text.
3 bits of quality information in one text.
That's really good. What rose hip? What does that mean?
I don't know.
One of the younger members of our team might know. I'm sure Charlie's had it in a gin cocktail.
She's probably had rose hip syrup when she was a baby. Yeah, but a rose hip would be you'd bite into a rose.
Goodness me, that sounds.
Well, Calvin, I thought you were clearing things up.
Yeah.
And now...
it's a throwaway line. I was biting into a rose hip the other day. If that was a conversation, I don't think we'd have just let that roll.
No, that's true.
Come on, Calvin. No, just adjusting my pants.
Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio. Surely not. There must be some mistake.
I don't know if you remember the first link that we did today. Straight after it, I had one of my diva moments. Do you remember that?
What did you do?
I said to Charlie, the producer, could I have my the sound in my headphones just a little bit louder?
And you complain about your chair.
And I complained about my chair. Two things.
Two screws Lautrec, I think we were calling it.
That's right.
Yeah, there were 2 screws.
Spikes are sticking into me. I mean, the whole purpose of a chair is to not stick into the...
That would be a great lad's name, 2 screws Lautrec.
He sounds like a legend.
It would be someone who'd been a lad and then changed his mind
quite quickly.
and lived a life of celibacy.
But there's been a lot of diva behaviour this week. That's the most diva-ish I get is, can I have my headphones a bit louder?
I think I've seen you more diva-ish than
I don't think so. I think that's a bit of scurrilous gossip, actually.
You don't get as diva-ish as me, but no one does.
No, well... what about Justin Bieber? He's been in the press this week.
Thanks for the mini protest. I really appreciated that. Alan didn't bother.
I couldn't eat another one there. Anyone else want a mini protest?
Yeah.
There ought to be chocolates called that.
Aren't they?
I just offered up my ghostly mini bites, and I don't do that often.
No, that's true.
And Alan rejected them with what I'm going to call cooking apple face.
I ate one, but whilst...
He said, they're not for me, are they, really?
They're not for me.
Cooking apple face is now available on social media. my face when I've eaten a cooking apple.
Yeah.
And also the title of the villain I'm playing in the next series of Gotham.
Yeah.
I would love it if you were in Gotham.
Dressed all in green.
If
with that face.
What about if you went
I would love that. I would love it if he was in Gotham.
Well, we would love to beat them. So, yes. So, diva-ish...
Bieber belieber.
He asked people to stop screaming during his songs, which, you know...
He asked people in Birmingham to stop screaming. He called them obnoxious.
He told them off in Manchester. He gave them a right telling off. He said, I wanted to say something, but if you guys don't want me to, I'll just cut straight to the next song.
And they all went, hooray!
I think so, yeah.
Because even people who love Bieber with a passion, know the chances of him saying anything of importance is minuscule.
Yeah.
Like, even his fans who love him going, wait, next song.
If he had to do like an itemized...
No, but I just wanted to... Can we just listen to him for 1 second? No, next song, we love you. Will you just give me a chance?
He said at one point, just try and show you love me in a different way.
Well, we've all said that.
Yeah.
And then he told them to take a chill pill for a second.
Did he?
He said, just take a chill pill and listen to me speak.
They don't want that.
Manchester.
They really don't want that, unless he does one of those sort of Telly Savalas spoken songs.
The problem with these boy bands...
If a picture paints 1,000 words, then why can't I paint you?
I don't think that's what he's offering.
I think the problem is, to paraphrase something Pete Waterman, I believe, once said to a friend of mine, they get all famous doing la la la, and then they want to do what I believe Pete Waterman refers to as own stuff.
Yeah.
Yes, it's the same.
And our own stuff is essentially acoustic guitar and beads they bought from Camden Market. They get a little like that.
It's like you get these comedians who start off doing all sort of dirty jokes and laddish, and next thing you know, they're on the radio talking about what books they read and stuff. I hate that.
Toulouse-Lautrec puns.
Yeah, I just hate it.
No, but you can't
doing arts programmes on Sky.
Yeah.
I mean, come on.
Weird.
Be who you are.
Actually, Frank, there is a difference because you still, essentially, what you wanted was laughter. Okay, and that's what you're still after. He wanted the screaming, now he's got it. He doesn't want the screaming.
The main difference is that Bieber is an imbecile. But, I would say with Bieber, he's got a very kissable face.
Lovely face.
He's got abs like a Nissan hot.
Yeah.
I think, count your blessings. Don't worry about the talking. Think I can keep that for your private life.
Yeah.
We don't know who they're talking.
Imagine if he just stopped talking in between songs. How long do you think it would actually be before any of his fans noticed that he wasn't? 8 years.
Talking. Have you ever heard anyone say, "Do you like Justin Bieber?" I like him. I like to hear him talking. No one's ever said. His own mother has never said that.
Frank Skinner on the radio.
We've had what I would call someone who's swimming against the tide of opinion. I think we all...
Silverfish.
It is, yeah. Perhaps we all sided with the crowd versus Bieber. Somebody... we've got a text here. I'm with Bieber on this one. People scream at him wherever he goes, not only on stage. If he's got a microphone, he might be heard for once. Maybe he's had something really important to say for the last 6 years that could fix our economy and nuclear weapon crisis. I mean, I think that's unlikely.
Really bright.
To be fair, he has had access to a microphone before.
Yes.
Yeah.
And nothing's come out
He's not been trying to talk before, has he?
No. He said it was he used the word pressuring, which... I'm not sure you can say that. I don't know if it makes
Do you think I've been
sense.
unsympathetic towards Bieber? Is that what you're saying?
Well, maybe.
I've said he's got a kissable face.
Yeah.
He can sing. And I think it was Meatloaf who pointed out,
Yeah.
2 out of 3 ain't
2 out of
bad.
3 isn't bad.
He was also spotted in his pants yesterday.
I've spotted in my pants many a time.
Yeah. Just need to spend a bit more time.
Wow.
One of his things was, to be fair, that he said the audience were quite close, I think, at the Birmingham
He said,
gig.
you're like 2 feet away from me.
Yeah.
Oh, I could say the same. Frank Skinner's 2 feet away from me, and it's lovely.
Yeah, but his point is don't scream at me if you're 2 feet away
Yeah.
from me. That's why he never did Chatty Man.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
Too much screaming.
Can't cope with that.
I'll be honest, I empathise with him at one point when I was reading the...
You did?
I did.
Well, you get screamed at a lot on stage, I
No,
know.
but listen, I just want to quote what the paper said of
Okay.
Bieber. He said, if we could just scream after the songs, enjoy the songs, then scream. Screaming is awesome, screaming is fun.
Oh.
And is it just
He's
me-
screaming fun.
Does he sound
He's
like an
obviously
exasperated
he's never
dad?
fallen down a
That's-
lift shaft.
No, but
just
he
sounded
has
to me
worked
like a
at the
dad.
fairground.
Just
How old is Bieber?
23.
23.
What do you think?
Something like
Let's
early
go over
20s.
to our correspondent with the pink iPad, Sarah. 22, she's going.
I like that with the tide has, even in the course of the 10 minutes of conversation, the tide has now swung towards Bieber.
Yeah, and why not?
I think it's important to listen to all the views. On
I
this.
just worry he's becoming a bit of a Howard Hughes character.
I remember Kat saying to me when we hadn't been going out very long, and she said to me, "Why do your fans think you're deaf?" Because blokes would come up to me in the street and go, "Frankie!" from about 6 feet away. And I don't know what it is.
Can I ask a question? Presumably, during the white heat period of your fame with David Baddiel,
Yes.
you must have got screamed at on occasion.
We never got... He got screamed at, I think, when he was...
When he did Newman and Baddiel.
But I've never... If I hear a scream at a gig, I assume there's a mouse in the auditorium. But no, I don't get screamed at, for goodness sake. Can you imagine it? But, you know, we've each got our own. He does. Is he going to start talking now? Is he going to start treading on my patch?
I would like, in a year, to see a Justin Bieber spoken word. Just ditch the music.
Oh, that'd be brilliant.
Just a,
I
like
would
a
love that, Al.
poster, just him in a spotlight with a microphone, no instruments.
What
Justin
about-
Bieber just talking.
I've got it, man in a suit. 2.0.
No,
That's the one.
I'd go for it.
I've never seen him in a suit.
There might just be us three in the audience, but other than that, I think it'll be a really good
Imagine if
night.
he became like a friend of ours. We just gave him career advice.
I don't think that's going to happen.
Why not?
I'm worried I might fall head over heels in love with him.
His kissable face.
that would be...
I see me as a sort of maternal Leslie Joseph figure to him.
I
his
think he
life.
should stick with what he knows. Ollie Murs said to me
Oh, yeah.
just a few days ago...
Extraordinary beginning to an anecdote.
Work
He
with them
said
all.
to me, he said, "You're very quick-witted, aren't you?" And I said, "And you've got a lovely voice. To each his own." And I think that is, there you have it.
Frank Skinner on the radio.
We've been talking about Bieber and his diva behaviour.
Yeah.
But there's been some other
Internal
diva...
rhyme.
Oh!
Bieber diva.
There's been some other diva news, because Mariah Carey, who I sort of love, because she reminds me of my cleaner,
Oh, that's
Eva.
nice.
Well, she's
She'll
just
be
got...
delighted to hear that.
Yeah, no,
I
she
think.
does. It's
Mariah.
slightly eccentric.
Is Eva a diva?
No,
Okay.
she's lovely.
This
She's
should
very
be written
direct.
by Longfellow now. There's a lot of
Yeah.
internal rhyme going on.
She's brutally direct, and I like that.
Who, Mariah?
Anyway, no, Eva, my
Oh, okay.
cleaner.
I've got very mixed up now.
But you know that slightly eccentric bag lady thing
Yeah.
Mariah's got, I think.
Yeah.
She's pulled the ripcord a bit. She's not fussed. I quite like that. She's gone the
she's
caftan.
pulled it in the right places.
Yeah, she
hasn't
has.
Yeah.
Anyway,
She's always been an enigma to me. I mean, it's one of those things. I don't know what makes her special from all those other singers that sing like her.
Right.
well, she does the old top C, doesn't she?
Does she?
The rarity, yes. She's
Well,
known for her
I thought she'd stop doing that.
Yeah.
I mean, it's nearly killed her.
At her age.
Yeah. But she...
This is what I know about Mariah. When she was at... she went out with like the boss of Sony,
Tommy Mottola.
who was like extremely rich, powerful man.
Yeah.
And then she got a contract, I think with, I can't remember who with, but like for millions and millions. And then I think she did one album and they dumped her, and then someone else came in and paid millions and millions.
Yes.
And now she's going out with one of the richest men in the world. That's what I know about her. She's like the Japanese waving cat, Mariah. Her money just...
Yes.
comes
She
to-
attracts money, doesn't she?
Yeah.
I mean, it's... And now, this bloke has bought her an engagement ring.
This bloke.
What's he called?
He's called James
He's a
Packer.
Packer, isn't
James
he?
Packer.
He's a one of the Packers.
Yeah.
What do you mean one of the pack? Like Kerry Packer?
Yeah, that's his son. Kerry Packer's his
I think he's
father.
the son of Kerry.
Yeah.
Oh.
So Kerry Packer is a sort of Rupert Murdoch type figure, isn't he? A
Yeah,
media
he
mogul.
revolutionised cricket.
He did.
Which
Media mogul.
is more
yeah.
than can be said for Mariah Carey.
As far as you
She's
know.
done nothing for cricket.
You
To
sure?
be fair,
No.
she hasn't tried very hard.
Well, I don't know that.
I heard she writes a cricket blog, but anonymously.
Nah.
That's what I heard.
She tried to get on the board at Gloucestershire. They wouldn't have her.
Is that right?
Yeah.
She should have...
She was going out with James Packer.
Right.
And then, so do you understand why he's so wealthy now, Frank?
yeah.
Well, it turns-
I didn't know he was one of those.
Billionaire.
backers.
Yes.
He's a billionaire. Not millionaire, billionaire.
Okay.
But
Sounding a bit...
that's a big deal,
crass
isn't
now. He was like one of those people who go, his house. Have you seen his house? He gave her a $10 million ring,
Yeah.
and now it's
Amazing.
all off.
Absolutely amazing.
Amazing. Looks so impressed.
10 million quid. Wouldn't you be frightened to go out the house in a 10 million quid ring?
Well, they all wear fake
I
ones when they
don't
go.
know if she goes out much on her own.
No, I don't think
Some
that's
say
Probably not.
the reason they split was he was shocked by her excessive spending.
that's a worry.
He was
isn't
shocked
it?
by that.
Yes.
That's like when George Best's wives used to say, and after a couple of years he started drinking and going out with other women.
Really? Did he? Can't believe
So
that celebrity
deceptive,
cheated
these
on me.
people.
But I think, I see what you mean, because, I mean, she does sit in the chair of extravagance. We
Yeah.
talk about... You
Well, yes,
talk,
she
Frank,
does, but
about...
we had to take the arms off.
This is Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio.
We were discussing Mariah Carey, brackets diva, close brackets.
And they call the wind Mariah.
And
Thank you,
and
everyone.
she's there's a possibility that her engagement with this Packer chap, James Packer, billionaire, is over. And he, it is said, has been scared off by her excessive spending. I'm quoting from the article now.
Because he thought she was going to go to Lidl.
Well, I'm worried. I'm worried that if she's outspending a billionaire, that he's looking at her thinking, she might get through all of this. I can't cope. I mean, that is some going,
Well,
isn't it?
Al,
Like,
she's insisting on keeping the ring, apparently.
yeah.
This is the word on the street, Frank.
That was because it was made by her friend.
Was
Is
it?
it?
Yeah, her friend.
Oh, I love that you know this level of detail.
Her friend's a big
So
celebrity jeweller. I read an interview with him and he talked about the responsibility of making Mariah's ring, and he didn't want to
7
let
minutes
her
of your life you won't get back.
Yeah. Said I didn't want to let her down, to make this. And he said something like it took a whole weekend to make it. I thought, that's not bad, is it, for 10 million quid?
That is all
I know
right.
the materials, it must cost a bit.
Well, diamonds aren't cheap.
I'm on
No.
that, I'm on less than that for a Saturday morning show. I don't know about
Yeah.
you. You get about
What,
10
less than $10 million? I don't know. I don't know what the exchange
Doing this
rate
on
is
this.
at the moment.
Exchange rate.
But I mean, I know it's probably not going to happen, but how can Mariah Carey go from a billionaire that she's outspent to like a normal? Like, what if she fell in
can't.
love?
Yeah, she can't.
No.
What if she fell in love with a guy that was about her age, but was just like a manager at an Argos in a
Worked in
mid-sized
adult
town?
education.
I think the argument is she wouldn't fall in love with that person.
You don't think she could?
No.
Even if he was nice and they liked each other?
Even if
He was
she was
handsome.
the best person she'd ever met in her life, she couldn't cope with that much acrylic.
Well, in fairness, nor could I.
No, I don't think that would happen.
But should she keep that ring? I mean, I think she should return it, frankly.
He might not want it back, though.
Well,
He's a
you want it
billionaire.
back?
I'm with the Colleen Rooney
What's that?
thing. Well, her and Wayne had a big row about these stories that were in the papers about him when she was engaged. And she took the ring off and threw it into a local squirrel sanctuary.
Did she?
Which is
Very Alan
it's
Partridge.
one of my favourite lovers' tip story of all time. And I don't think they've ever found it. I think people still go there with a metal detector to this day.
Do they really?
Yeah.
Oh, so she never found the ring?
I don't think she did. Someone out there will know that. 12:15.
Yes.
Where real music matters. Oh, sorry, that was my other jingle. But, yeah, I love that story, though.
There
Imagine
are
that
two
moment.
squirrels who look very happy together.
Throw in the squirrel sanctuary! Oh, man. Nightmare. There's another man, though, isn't there? What about Brian Tanaka?
We don't...
Hey.
Isn't that his name?
Keep it daytime.
Brian Tanaka, that's his
Is
name.
that his name?
Yeah,
that's
it is.
Oh, Frank, do you know how happy that's made me that you know that?
Backing
you know
dancer.
the name of the of Mariah Carey's backing dancer.
I love
Tanaka.
that. I've long been fascinated by the backing dancer syndrome.
Well, they do very
You
well.
think it's a syndrome?
I think, I don't remember them at all. I remember backing singers.
Oh, yeah.
But those blokes behind women singers, I don't remember before Madonna. I think she
The
might
backing
have.
dancer often ends up with the celebrity.
Yeah.
You'll
You
find
can
if Gary
imagine that.
Barlow's with the backing dancer, married
he?
the backing dancer.
Is
yeah,
that right?
a number of the Spice Girls married their backing dancers.
They didn't, did
Mel
they?
B married Jimmy, was his backing dancer.
Wow.
There you go.
Did not know that.
I'm, yes, so the stuff for
You
the
ended
backing
up with a
dance-
Skinnerette briefly.
Yeah, she was in her 80s. It was difficult in lots of ways. Oh, I can still see that harness.
Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio.
We've had a text from
okay.
415 saying you've got a cleaner. Surely that's diva-esque. I'm not sure who that's targeted at.
Me.
Is
Because I
it?
referenced that Mariah Carey looked a little bit like my cleaner.
Oh, I see. Just,
I used to think that about cleaners. When I first got a cleaner, I used to help. I
I'll
used
bet
to
they
help
love
her.
so
that.
nice,
I'll bet they
though.
love
She said to
having-
me, "It's better you don't help." And that was the end of that. I never helped again. Anyone.
I like her for saying that.
Well, we no longer have cleaner. That's how I ended up with the aforementioned months ago.
You no longer
when
have cleaner.
we
Well,
don't
you've
have a
adopted
cleaner.
the vernacular.
Don't no longer have cleaner, and now I clean the shower whilst showering.
Oh, yes.
We discussed
So
it.
did Mrs. Cockrell lay down the law over that?
No, we just decided to do it ourselves, you know. There you go.
Respect.
Respect to Mundo.
What, are you free Tuesday mornings?
Well, Gandhi, of course, Mahatma, not David,
Yeah.
was a big believer in that, wasn't he?
He was a
he?
big belieber.
He wasn't a
Gandhi
believer.
was a believer.
He's the one who's screaming, I bet.
He was
Oh, those
annoying.
loincloths are too tight.
They look spacious to me.
No, but it's that pin. Sometimes it gets in the side.
That's
An
why he
nappy
went
pin.
on the hunger strike. They was too tight. He didn't have the sense of loosening them. He decided to just make himself smaller. He hadn't thought it
thinking,
through,
Mark.
Gandhi.
Mahatma was a huge believer in cleaning, the power of cleaning.
Really?
Yes. He felt it just put you in touch with your essence and your humanity.
Oh, that's nice.
Respect to Mondo.
There you go. Used to make his wife do it. Didn't go down well at all.
Oh, is that true?
Yeah.
That's not true.
You two should try that.
So the thing with the dancer obviously should be going on behind her back. Turns out it's been going on behind Packers by the
You're
sound of it.
right.
Yeah.
Eh?
Yeah.
We've had a text
And
from
now he sent her packing.
Oh, lovely, Frank.
You see?
Salante.
Thanks very much.
We've had
Yeah.
a text from Debs in Beds.
Oh.
I think that's Bedfordshire.
Debs
but
in-
I think she's just trying to follow the
It's a
law
bit
of
like bananas in pyjamas.
rhyming
Oh, I see.
on today's
Okay.
show. Hello all, I believe the woman gets to keep her ring if the man breaks off the engagement.
Oh.
Under the archaic rule of breach of promise. They've got caps there, breach,
Breach
of
of
That is
promise.
interesting.
Breach of promise used to mean that if you proposed to someone and then called off the engagement, you could actually be fined, I think.
Oh,
you had to give them
Now you tell
compensation.
me.
Imagine if Packer gets fined for breaking off the engagement.
What,
That'd be-
is he the one who's definitely broken it off?
It's seeming that way.
Well, we
because of
don't
her
know
expressive-
this.
Well, maybe.
Perhaps he's just gone off, you know that?
I've just
Yeah.
gone off her.
As
He
they
might
say
have.
overseas, maybe him no carey.
Him no Jim.
Yeah. And she's doing a reality show. I'm surprised at that.
Well, apparently so was he. And that was part of the other problem, is that, he can't have been surprised. I mean, the cameras and the lights and all these staff must have alerted him to
Isn't
it.
she too big to do a reality?
No one's too big now, darling.
Is that right?
Yeah.
We should do one here. What about if we did one in the radio show? Wouldn't be very interesting, would it?
Do you think when she gets the money for it, she thinks of it as a reality check?
Oh, absolutely excellent.
Thank you very much. Thank you. I'm really pleased with that.
And if you want to watch Mariah's show, it's called Big Mother. And it's on Tuesdays, I think, is it?
Is it?
I think you'll be at my house cleaning. You can watch it. You can watch it on catch up.
Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio. Surely not. There must be some mistake.
This, however, is Frank Skinner. I'm with Emily Dean and I'm with Alan Cochrane. And you are able to text the show if you press the numbers 8, 12, 15. You can follow the show on Twitter. Still going, despite some reduction this week. That is at Frank on the radio. At being an A that's done a lap of honour, you know, the kind of thing.
Yeah.
You can email the show via the Absolute Radio website. You remember websites?
Yeah.
God. Yesterday, when I was young, so many songs were waiting to be sung. Okay.
We were talking about Mariah Carey not giving back the $10 million engagement ring. I've never given an engagement ring or a $10 million engagement ring and then subsequently had to break off the engagement.
No.
But would that be a thing that you would expect to get back if you were the gentleman in question? Would he?
Well, what do you think
he's hashtag
Frank?
got it?
Well, I was going out with a lady back in the day.
Yeah.
In the West Midlands, and she'd commented on the fact that we saw some earrings in a shop that she really liked. They were red hearts. She was a garish character.
Red hearts, were they?
Yeah, red heart earrings.
Very
And
kids TV presenter.
Yeah, well, they were sort of, I don't know what you'd call them. Sort of like
Flamboyant.
glass.
Yeah.
But they looked like precious stones. But they were glass.
Heart of glass,
Right.
some might say.
Yeah, hearts of glass, absolutely spot on. So I went back to the shop a couple of days later and bought these earrings for her. They were £5.
Well, what year was this? Put it in context.
This would be 1827.
1827.
87.
Okay. 1887.
1987.
Okay.
And then a couple of days later, I'm going to be straight with you. We'd got into bed together.
This is gross.
I'm not going any further than that. This is as bad as it gets. And she said to me, listen, I want to end the relationship. I remember the first thing I did was I got out of bed immediately and put my underpants on.
Yeah.
First thing I did.
Seems right.
I thought you won't be saying that again, madam.
Oh, what a grave punishment that would be.
Yeah, exactly. There's no halfway house here. So, I said, I can't, you know, like King Lear at the end of,
Were you wearing your pants? Because it sounds really undignified,
I
Frank.
had my pants on then. Yeah, they were back on.
Were you angry?
I was hurt and upset,
course.
rejected.
That sometimes manifests itself as anger.
Yeah, it does. I wasn't really. I said to me, I'll tell you what. I thought, no, I got to rack up the guilt. I said,
Yeah.
I bought those earrings. You know those earrings? She said, I went back and she went, oh no. And I said, yeah, I did. I went and bought them. That's the kind of guy I am. She said, I'll buy them off you. How much were they? I said, 15 quid.
You didn't.
Yeah. So I got 200% profit out of that.
Did you?
I thought that's poor balance for a broken heart.
Frank. I think you probably felt a little spring in your step.
Well, I think he took a bit of the sting out.
10 quid profit to drown those sorrows,
Yeah,
isn't
10
it?
quid in those days.
Oof.
I bought a small semi-detached in Wolverhampton.
But it was the beginning of your property portfolio.
It was,
Yeah.
exactly.
One
Beginning
door
of the slum
closes.
landlord years.
Yeah, great oak trees from little acorns grow.
You see, I
I
think...
told her that, but she didn't believe me.
I think, as a rule, you have to return the
I don't
property.
use it as a rule. Oh, multifaceted.
Blimey. Blimey.
Yeah, what? Go on.
I mean,
you think you should return?
For example, I have exes. There's one ex who's got 3 pairs of shoes of mine.
Oh.
Now, I would say those
you would have
shoes...
given those back, wouldn't you?
Well, I don't want to ask. But, I mean, the thing I would say is I'm going street value. Bear in mind, before you write in and say, you know, I'm not a woman of the people, they're expensive because I've amassed them over the years. I didn't go out on a splurge.
Look, it's all right.
But these shoes, I'd say combined value of all 3, £2,000. Maybe 1,800.
Hold on a minute. I have a cup of tea.
I thought they were playing a clip on YouTube from Never the Twain or another 80s sitcom.
But why would anyone keep...
Why has he kept those shoes?
Why has he kept
They are
those shoes?
gonna be
If you're
some of the-
listening, love, put them in the post.
They are going to be some of the best dressed stilts that have ever been seen.
I don't...
In fairness to him,
Those
maybe
stilts
he
wearing
thinks...
Jimmy Choos.
In fairness to him, maybe he thinks it feels petty to put them in a package and send them back.
Right.
I
But you
find
know
that
what?
courier-
It's not petty. I really want
Yeah,
the shoes
yeah,
back.
I find that... I've never heard of anyone keeping the shoes before. That just seems...
No.
Does he wear a pink beret, this man? I'm just trying to work out.
Frank Skinner on the radio.
Oh, I'll tell you what I kept of an ex's once. A tankard.
Oh.
Yes.
A tankard.
He was given a tankard.
Not a tabard.
No, a tankard. A tankard. He was given a tankard.
Okay.
And
Engraved.
Yes. And I thought, well, what do I do? Because this is a special thing.
Yeah.
So I kept it because I rather like it. I use it as a vase.
Ah.
And me and the said ex are on very good terms. He's a dear friend who you know, Frank. And so I did tell him I had the tankard.
He's all right with it.
He's okay about me having it. It was it was a gift he was given on a film set, and I've still got it.
Does anybody else feeling like this is that moment on the Antiques Roadshow where they're saying, how did you acquire this thing?
Yeah. Exactly.
Well, I'll tell you what, I rather liked it. I just kept it. It's lovely.
Well, it has got an interesting derivation, I believe. It came from Sacha Baron Cohen originally, the tankard.
did it?
Yes.
Okay, lovely.
Yeah.
It's got do you have a letter of provenance?
From Sacha Baron Cohen.
And yes, I used it for chewing tobacco discharges. Oh, did you, for many years? Yes, there is some staining on the... Well, it's worth... I would expect an auctioneer to get somewhere between £200 and £300 for that.
Really? Pretend to look happy. That's
Yeah,
great.
that's what me and Kath every week, I've told this before, every time they give the price, me and Kath both say together, got it.
Yeah, got it.
I think that's worth £1,200. Got it, absolutely got it, just to their face.
My wife, whenever it's a decent figure, if it's like £7,000, my wife always goes, conservatory. Like assuming that these are the people that want a conservatory.
Well, I think one of my worst things was when I ended... When text first began...
What is it called on Jeremy Cole Texties?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
So when they first... When would that have been? Text?
I know exactly. No, I'm
90s?
going 97,
Yes,
98.
yes, that would be
I
right.
still had a
actually.
Maybe
pager in
2000
98.
francs.
No, this was definitely pre-2000.
Was it football's coming home time? Yeah.
It would be between that and 2000, and I split up with someone, and I thought, text? Of course, we've got text now. That's a good way of doing it. And I thought, well, this gives me a chance to be more, inventive. So I did a whole long text on my big phone.
Yeah. On your big Roger Moore button phone.
As if she was a game show contestant. I said, and it was like, it began, well, I'll change her name to... Susie, say.
Yeah.
So I wrote, so we're going to have to say goodbye to Susie, but
Oh my God.
but she doesn't go away empty-handed. And then I listed the things I'd bought her during our relationship. And then I said a big L. So what about a big Ann? One more time, big Ann for Susie. And then I sent that.
Wow.
I thought it's good because I'm ending the relation. I mean, I was ending it.
Did she reply?
She didn't.
Funny that.
Yeah, rude.
Did she
I should
reply
say-
via the newspapers?
I should say it was a relationship which was, was already
On its uppers.
It was in about. It wasn't like, it was out the blue.
Was communication becoming toxic? Is that the... Because it sounds a bit...
It was...
Do you know, Frank, that's lovely the way you do that.
Oh, yes. I love Toxic. That's one of my favourite singles of all time.
Yeah, me too. Another thing we've got in common.
Whatever happened?
I mean, where
did it all go wrong?
You're not coming out of this recent diva bit that well, Frank, I'll be absolutely honest with you. Somebody said, talking of diva behaviour, I like Frank. But
I thought there might be a bot.
Yeah.
I remember him mentioning a homeless guy asking for a bite of a burger that he was eating. I was shocked that Frank didn't just give the burger to a hungry guy. And now the earrings. Frank!
I know, but this was when I was in Birmingham. I didn't have much money. And the homeless guy, you don't want to give... I mean, God bless them, but if you give an homeless guy a burger to have a bite of...
Yeah.
Burger gone.
Well,
Yeah. I think that's his exact point.
So what I did is I broke a bit off. What about the time a homeless guy said to me, again in Birmingham, a homeless guy said to me, can I buy a cigarette off you? So I got my cigarettes out, and he got these pennies out with bits of tobacco. Gave me about 8 pence, and I took it.
You didn't.
It wasn't until after I thought, no, I should have just given him that.
You shouldn't have taken the money.
It felt the whole thing, his whole tone was transaction. So I went with it.
Frank Skinner on the radio.
What's happening? Charlie's leaning over the dustbin. Is everything
just doing
all right?
some furniture arranging.
I worked with Tina Hobley once, and...
Congratulations.
She... nominative determinism, ended up in Holby City.
Yeah. And ended up on crutches, Hobley. After took part in the Channel 4's The Jump.
Indeed.
And I'm afraid sustained an injury. So Hobley really is nominative determinism.
Anyway, we just started the show, so we're on air, and she casually walks away from the panel desk over to a large black bin and throws up with great...
gusto.
Great gusto.
Why?
The audience. She had, I think she had the Noro.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
Awful.
She had the hangover.
No, she didn't.
The last time we...
No, not
the last time we discussed nominative determinism on the show, we got an email from someone saying that they thought the best example of nominative determinism was David Beckham, who grew up in the Whips Cross area of London.
Oh, because he loves the cross,
excellent?
Al.
And he really whipped it in.
Whipped in those crosses.
He's quite a high-profile... secretive member of the S&M community.
That's the other thing.
Is he in your community?
Ticks a lot of the boxes, doesn't it? Which they like.
Have you got famous people in your community, Frank, the S&M community?
I can't possibly answer that.
Oh, OK. You're sworn to secrecy.
And the great thing is that the email about nominative determinism is from Mr. Eric Mail. That's a weird coincidence.
So, cleaners have come up quite a lot in the show today. And there's a story this week about a hapless caterer, not a cleaner, but still serving staff. Quite close.
They're all staff.
In that part of the diagram.
Who's knocked the thumb off a statue?
Oh, yes, the Townley Venus.
Well, not just any old statue, the Townley Venus, which I studied in art history.
Did you?
It's a very important piece.
Is it?
Yes.
I've seen it.
It's now very important pieces, because someone knocked the thumb off.
It's a bit of a look at the...
Townley.
Is it?
Well, it's in the old Venus de Milo mould, isn't it?
No, it's got a hint of the Eddie Redmayne about it. But
has it?
But, I would say one could officially call it a hot potato.
Good.
Sorry, obscure crushes.
The obscure
Most obscure crush you've ever had, the Townley Venus in the British Museum. I tell you, who's hot. The old Townley Venus.
Well, she was going to come over to my place this week, but unfortunately she planned to hitchhike.
Yeah.
And now the thumb's gone.
Oh, God.
Exactly. Very difficult.
Now, I'm worried about this story.
Are you?
I think it's a bit Frank Spencer.
Well, I think I suspect horseplay.
Tell me what you mean.
Well, it said that the catering person was bending down under the Townley Venus, and then they stood up and they banged their head on the thumb, and the thumb came off. Now, why?
Then he got himself into a little bit of trouble.
Exactly. Now, why was a person bending down in front of the Townley Venus?
Well, you've given us one reason earlier.
Maybe to pick up a fork or a...
Maybe pursuing a cherry tomato.
Yes.
Yeah,
Well,
that's
we've all done it.
what?
Oh, no, we haven't.
All done what?
Bend down in front of the Townley Venus.
No, I don't think I've
Knocked
ever
a
done
thumb
that.
off. No,
I've never knocked a thumb off an ancient relic.
no.
I don't think I have.
Not intentionally.
Hold it. No. No, I've never knocked a thumb off an ancient relic. I can honestly say that.
In fairness.
It's a horrible story in many ways.
Yes.
I also apparently attempted some sort of weak attempt at restoration with a chipolata,
Oh,
but it wouldn't adhere. You should have seen that coming.
This is Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio.
Frank, when we were discussing the Townley Venus smoking,
Yeah.
you said you didn't believe the story. What do you mean? What, you don't believe that it was an
It
accident?
just sounds. He was. I don't know if they've said it's a he, have they? It's a catering person.
Yeah.
I think actually they weren't bending down and like they've broken the thumb by like trying to put their iPhone in its hand.
What
or
happened
Doing
then?
something
Oh, I
like
see.
that. Yeah, you know, doing like putting a Savoy in its hand.
That would be great.
Why would they do that?
Because that's what happens when people are together and they're confronted by art.
Do you know what?
They hate it. They basically hate it.
You know what? If that was what they were doing, that would actually make the Townley Venus be doing an impression of me in a photograph on my wife's phone. Because when I send her a message or call her, she's got a photograph of me eating a Savoy, which she took when we were going round to some friends for lunch. And I went, I'm just going to have a sausage on the way. I'm really hungry. And so she has this picture of me eating a Savoy. So the Townley Venus.
I like that.
I love a sausage on the way.
Yeah, why not?
There's a stall not far from me that sells hot dogs. And sometimes I just walk in.
The area's going down?
It just smells too good.
I think the area's going up.
Apparently,
Put
they
10% on the property value for me, that.
a spokesperson for, not specifically for the Townley Venus. The Townley Venus, it doesn't employ its own spokesperson.
It's got PR.
Doesn't have Franks after it. Apparently, the PR said this was an unfortunate incident. We have retrained all individuals responsible for events as a result of this. But what does that involve? How to navigate the torsos?
It means don't mess about with the Townley Venus. That's what they've been told.
Good rule.
Don't
It's a
do
rule
that
I've
thing.
lived by.
Don't put the decorations. Don't hang them from the Townley Venus. I don't want any of that. Don't put an iPhone in its hand. Leave it alone.
I liked the...
Well, can we leave it alone? Is it all right if we leave? No, leave it alone.
Frank, when you do a questionnaire for some supplement in the Daily Mail and they say fave pin-up, do you promise me you'll say the Townley Venus?
Should but wouldn't.
Yeah.
Townley Venus.
No, not should but wouldn't.
Shouldn't but would.
No, would but shouldn't.
Would but shouldn't.
Should but wouldn't would be a difficult. That'd be a horrible question, wouldn't it?
Imagine if you really elaborated on it and said, I don't know what it is. I just think there's something about her.
It's something to do with she hasn't got too defined a hip. She's got a sort
Frank
of.
doesn't like a waist.
No, I don't like waste in any area of life.
Okay.
I just think there's something hot about the Townley Venus. I don't mind the older woman. She's from the first century, I think. Okay, I don't know how much we'd have in fact, I'd finally find someone who's got the same sort of topics of conversation as me. Someone who can remember Torchy the Battery Boy.
You'd say, is that all right doing that little voice? Yes, fine. Townley wouldn't care.
Exactly. You couldn't get that spot on my back, could you? Haven't got a thumb. Oh, sorry.
Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio.
This character who broke the finger of the Townley Venus.
Caterer.
Yeah.
Yes, the caterer. Sorry to leave the H out.
Just misread it.
Yeah. He's not the first. There have been previous, because do you remember the story about the man who tripped over his shoelace? This was about 10 years ago. I was rather obsessed by this story. He tripped over his shoelace in the Fitzwilliam Museum in Cambridge, and he broke 2 priceless Ming vases.
Oh.
And as a result, he was banned from the museum.
I bet he was relieved that they were priceless rather than, like, really expensive.
Exactly.
Oh, hang on. Priceless. Oh, I see.
It's
you don't
strange
get
to ban
charged.
him. No.
You know, they say in the shop sometimes you see that sign saying any breakages have to be paid for.
Yeah.
You should put that in museums and art galleries.
Well, I think you got
Townley Venus, you're not going to get much change out of it.
I think things like standing on your own shoelace, that's neglect, isn't it?
Yeah. Yeah.
I think he should have to pay.
Do you?
I do.
So have you broken things, though?
Well, do you remember I told you before, Bars, we went to a church in Cheltenham.
Oh, yeah.
And Buzz broke, was it a sheep or a shepherd? I can't remember, but someone from the Nativity. And Buzz was little and he put his hand in there and it broke. And I was with my brother-in-law, Jack, and we sort of said, well, we went and knocked on the vicar's door. He wasn't in. And
which aspect of the nativity was it again? It was a.
I can't. I think it was a shepherd, but it could have been a sheep. It was someone rural.
Yeah.
And we went to the local newsagents, bought super glue, went back in, stuck it back on. Nothing was said about it.
That's what I did to the Townley. The Townley, in fairness, arrived in 2 pieces when it came into this country.
Is that right?
Yes.
And also, I quote from the article.
Bought from IKEA.
They said the broken thumb was fixed back on with an adhesive in situ while the gallery was closed.
Same as we did with the shepherd.
Yeah,
It's not
and
quite
then they
the same.
said the work was said to be, and I quote, straightforward.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
blue tack. That's blue tack, innit? That is blue tack on the thumb.
I hope it wasn't blue tack.
I think it was better than gaffer tape.
Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio. Surely not. There must be some mistake.
Speaking of breakages, this is a sensitive story, but I'm going to. This is something that happened to me yesterday, or gestern, I think the Germans call it. I was. How can I put this? I was on the toilet.
Oh.
I know.
Gross already.
I know you're having your breakfast, but anyway, I was on the toilet and At home, suddenly there was a terrible noise.
Now, of course there was.
And not that. And the seat cracked in right through the just.
Oh yeah.
Like that.
Well, how do you think it feels like to be Michael Gove? Happens to him all the time.
But that I was.
Did it crack in two, Frank? It came adrift from the hinges.
Absolutely. I mean, it was.
How did you take this?
It was shocking. There was no sense of it about to go. It suddenly went like. And of course, the crack becomes like jaws, like snapping jaws.
The crack in the toilet.
The crack in the toilet.
Yeah. You should just clarify.
So I thought I don't want to get caught in the crack in the.
I think we've all had that sitting on a crack pan. It's a pinch.
Well, I've never
isn't
sat on a crack pan
Oh,
before.
really? Oh,
Speak
Have
for
you ever
yourself.
had one break under you before?
no.
Yeah, but I don't want to talk about that.
No.
Okay.
Now.
I was worried because it's an O. It's basically an O, isn't it? That
Yeah.
it forms
Yeah.
an O. I didn't want my gentleman's excuse me to get trapped and turn it into a Q. That's what I was worried about. But honestly, it was horrible. I was mid, so it's not like I could just. I had to
Frank, that's really
I had to
unpleasant.
stay on the broken O.
Finish the job, yeah.
Oh,
Alan.
let's not go into details.
Well,
but it
what
was
about when I was
awful.
with the world's strongest man in Malta
Yeah.
and he broke a seat? We were at a restaurant and the seat broke.
I don't mind that.
And well, I do. He had to leave the restaurant,
Well,
and
at
I
least it
said,
has
"This
a
is terrible."
slapstick
No, he
element
said this
to it.
happens to him once a week. Happens
Wow.
all the time. They always break seats. It's garden furniture. Have you seen these
Oh,
guys?
I went to a party once, a garden thing in Wolverhampton, and they had
I'm sorry to hear that.
They had an enormous relative.
You okay?
I mean, I shouldn't name him, but he was a big relative. And he sat on one of those plastic chairs, and
Yeah.
I thought, that's going to break. That's going to break if he sits on it. It didn't break.
Oh.
What it did, it just went straight into the lawn. The legs just
brilliant.
went straight in. So he's still sitting on it, but it's at ground level. And then there's a lot of men sort of averting the eyes of others, saying, "Oh, don't ask me to help." And he was just on the floor.
Wow,
Oh, man, but the chair just went straight down like that.
A broken chair is humiliating.
Like it was a chair in one of those houses of the future. It just went into the ground.
Do you think he took that as a little moment in life to think, maybe?
Well, that's why I
was
must
just going to
admit,
say, do you feel more body dysmorphic after the episode?
I did think the diet starts here.
You cried.
I did.
It's for a bathroom without scales, isn't it? It was.
Moment. I mean, I should mention, my personal assistant was sitting on my lap.
That's fine.
Going through some fan mail.
They're not built for two, those toilet seats.
What about the tandem ones? Hey, what about a tandem toilet seat?
That's,
No? Like a love seat.
Anyway, in the tradition, the grand tradition of pics or it didn't happen, I have taken a photo of the crack.
You didn't?
Of the cracked toilet seat, yeah.
Well, I hope in a reasonable condition.
No, I cleaned up the surrounding area, but yeah.
Well, you say you did. Daniel Craig's cleaner did.
No, she's not with me anymore.
Yeah,
remember, she's totally committed to Craigie.
That's Orcs.
Totally committed to Craigie. Was that a song from Greece? So, yeah. Totally committed to Craigie. Anyway, that is it, I think, for this week. Should we I'm going to put up the photo of the cracked seat.
Why not?
Yeah, it was a shocking incident, I can tell you.
Sounds like it.
No warning.
So have you had it fixed? Because if I come round, I want a warning.
No,
I don't want to deepen the fissure.
As ever, you'd never want a domestic accident at the weekend because you just think, I can't. I'm not being charged time and a half.
Well, just go and use David Baddiel's lavatory.
I reckon when you next go, it's just going to have some slightly weary-looking silver gaffer tape over the crack.
I'd say it's going to have some silverfish.
Bonded.
Well, anyway, I'm using I'm making do with a colander. Over the top at the moment. Thank you so much for listening. If the good Lord spares us and the creeks don't rise, we'll be back again this time next week. Now get out.
Hear the Frank Skinner Show as it happens. Saturday morning from 8 until 11 on 105.8 FM in London and the South East.